was originally in 2004 that I was having problems with my throat, living in Portugal. So going to the doctor, although I understood some Portuguese, I think my inability to communicate didn't help the situation. Eventually I came back to England because some good friends made sure I did, because they could see this big lump in my neck and were worried. So I came to England and was diagnosed with squamous cell cancer on my left tonsil. A good friend of mine was told, because she asked my prognosis, and she was told that without treatment I would not survive a year. Even with treatment, basically if I was still alive after a year, then my chances would go up with each passing year. But I had a 40% chance of survival. I had chemoradiotherapy. I have to say that the consultant and the people who dealt with me at Musgrove Park Hospital in Taunton were absolutely lovely. Although I would hate to have to go through it all again. They did warn me that the treatment would actually leave me in quite a bad way, that I would not be able to swallow, that I would have no saliva, no taste buds working, but that I could recover from it. And a lot of it was actually going to be my own mental attitude, that if I'd given up, I possibly still wouldn't have survived, but luckily I'm quite a stubborn person, quite determined. And so I thought, right, I'm going to get better. I did actually look at the possibility that I was about to die, and I've heard of so many people who deal with the fact that they're dying, very sort of nobly, and everyone says, oh wow, she was amazing. And I thought, am I going to be one of those, or am I going to just sort of run around screaming, I don't like it? And I thought, well, actually, it's up to me. I can do either. I can do both, or actually, do you know what? I'm not finished. I've still got things to do. And so, with every radiotherapy treatment, with every chemotherapy treatment, I just called on the angels to help me. Please help me get through this. I used to have this mask on, because when you have radiotherapy you have to keep absolutely still, because they target it at exactly the right spot. I've got one spot tattooed on my chest so that they could line it up. And yeah, I just called on the angels every time. And I definitely came the closest I want to come to dying. Yeah, it wasn't an easy time, but I wanted to live. Basically left me unable to swallow, and with no saliva. But bit by bit, I fought back from that. I always drink water. I carry water at all times. And slowly things have improved, and I can eat fairly normally now. I can go out for meals and it not be really obvious but I can't actually eat. And it all went on fine until I think it was probably January 2009. I was in New Zealand with my friend Mike, and I had this thing came up on my face that kept itching, and I was constantly scratching at it. Particularly my daughter Sharon kept saying, "You scratch that a lot, you should get it checked." And I go, yeah, I'll get it checked. It's all right. It's just dry skin. Amazing how somebody who's already had cancer could be quite so in denial, but there you go. Asked Mike to look at my face closely, which is impossible to do yourself, even with a magnifying mirror. I'd tried. And he looked and he said, "It's got a black centre." And I knew that's not a good sign. By this time I knew about cannabis oil. I'm on Facebook, and I had seen enough, heard of Rick Simpson, many people, and it was like, right, I need to get some cannabis oil. I put some on a plaster, the little round plasters in all the boxes of plasters. Nobody ever wants the little round ones. Well, I did. Loads of people started giving me them, because I also, as I say, put it on directly, and of course you have to keep changing the plaster. It's a strange thing. I absolutely knew that it was going to get rid of it. It had the most amazing effects. I could feel. You could call it pain, or you could call it itching. It was a mixture of the two, going right down under my skin, inside, right down here. I have a little white mark on my face somewhere here, which is where it was. And I went to my GP as well, and I actually went to my GP about something else, and she asked me why I'd got a plaster on my face, and I told her and showed her. No, actually that's not true. I had showed it to her before I started the cannabis oil, and she made me an appointment with a skin specialist. But by the time the appointment with a skin specialist came, I actually went to see the skin specialist with the thing still on my face, but it was actually only still attached to my face by a tiny little bit. And it was actually the skin specialist who pulled it off, but she didn't pull, she just got hold of it and, oh, it's come off. And there, underneath, was completely smooth skin, which is still there. I have to say that on Dean's advice, when I started my cannabis oil treatment, I also started taking Nigella black seed oil. I upped the amount of juicing I was doing. I always do my best to eat organic food anyway, because I can't eat large amounts. I make sure it's good. Fluvial minerals, chaga mushroom. I took all sorts. And I worked a lot on my thoughts, my mental attitude. I was very clear that I was going to beat it. And thankfully I did. I believe that the change in the diet is as important, is as much medicine as the cannabis oil. You can't. If you treat cannabis oil just the way people treat pharmaceutical drugs, then it doesn't work so well. You have got to take responsibility for your own healing and prevention. Don't wait till you've bloody well got cancer. Do it now. Sort your diet out, folks.